Okay, so in this problem we have a bicycle wheel and it's 26 inches in diameter. That means across the wheel from here to here, that length right there is 26 inches. Okay, now the question asks, if you're traveling at 40 miles per hour, um, how many revolutions every minute does the wheel spin? So basically, how many times does the wheel turn every minute? So here's what we're going to do. Don't think about formulas here. What we're going to do is we're just going to draw out a picture and see if we can reason through this. So I know that the bike, I'm going to figure out how far it travels in an hour. And this one's an easy one to do. So in 1 hour, I don't like that. Let's do that again. So in 1 hour, the bike travels this distance right here is 40 miles. So now the question is how many miles does it travel in a minute? Because we want to know per minute. So how many miles per minute will the bike travel? So to do that, we know that there are 60 minutes an hour, and you can use some dimensional analysis here to solve this. Let me grab a different color. So you have 40 miles over 1 hour. And if we want to know per minute, what we do is we put hours on the top and we put minutes on the bottom. And what will happen there is the hours will cancel out. So we need to know the conversion between hours and minutes. So we know that there is 1 hour in 60 minutes, or 60 minutes in 1 hour, however you want to think about it. So now, if I take 40 over 60, so 40 divided by 60, I'll end up with miles per minute. And this reduces to 2/3, okay, miles every minute. So we'll go 2/3 of a mile per minute, or 2 miles every 3 minutes. However you want to think about that. Okay, so if you look, that means that this distance right here, in 1 minute, we're going to travel 2/3 of a mile. Okay, now what we want to know is how many times in in that 2/3 of a mile, so in 2/3 of a mile, how many times does the tire rotate? Okay, that's the question. I'm going to rewrite the word rotate because I don't think you can see it on the side of that screen. Okay. So what we do is we take the tire. Okay, so we've got a tire here. And what I want to know is how far, if it goes around once, how far does a tire, or how far does a bicycle travel? So here's what I mean. If you take the tire and you roll it, okay, and it does 1 revolution. So, for example, I'll draw, okay, here I'll make some marks on it. So the tire starts here, it's rotating around, okay, and then it ends up back down here. So the question is, how far does the bike travel when the tire rotates once? Well, to figure that out, really all we're asking for is what's the circumference of the tire. So, what is the circumference of the tire? Okay, and to figure that out, we know circumference is equal to 2 times pi times the radius value. Here the radius, don't put 26, the radius is 13. So we have 2 times pi times 13, and that'll give us the circumference value in inches. Okay. So our circumference is equal to 2 times pi. Here we're going to use 3.14 for pi. So that gives us 81.64 inches. So that's how many inches it travels in one revolution. But we want to know how many times does it go around in 2/3 of a mile. So let's switch that mile into inches. So to do that, we know that there are 5,280 feet in every mile. So we're going to take 2/3 and multiply it by 5,280, and that will give me an answer in feet. So I'll take 2 times 5,280 and divide that number by 3, and I'll get 3,520. So this length right here in the yellow is 3,520 feet. How many inches is it? Well, we'll just multiply that number by 12, and we'll get 42,240 inches. So here's the deal. Let's take a look at this. We have 42,240 inches the bike is going to travel in 1 minute. Okay, now the question is, how many times does the tire rotate? Well, the tire rotates once every 81.64 inches. So it'll rotate here, 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 blah, 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 blah. Okay, it'll rotate a bunch. So to figure out how many times it rotates, we just take the 42,240 and we divide that by 81.64. Okay, and that'll give us how many times we rotate, which gives me about 517, just a little bit more than that. So I'm going to say 517.4 rotations every minute. Now you can tell that there's a lot involved in this problem. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is figure out, and I'll do it up here in a different color, we need to figure out how far the bike is traveling. So I took something that I knew, something very basic up here, and I did a little bit of conversion, and I came up with this. I needed to make sure that that was in the same dimension, so in inches, as my wheel up here. Okay, so I did my conversion down here. So I got that length, and then I took that length and I divided it by the distance around the tire. So this distance here around the tire, the circumference. So I took the length divided by the circumference, and that told me the amount of rotations that I would have in that time frame.